it's good. It's good in a way when you can hear yourself as well.
Yeah. No. I get it now. This is really like you need to get, but I feel like you need to get used to it
Yeah, you do.
because I feel really awkward, like listening to myself.
Yeah, but do you think once you get used to it, you'll also be a bit more like introspective of what you say, so you'll think a bit more as well?
No, I think this is cleaner. It's a lot cleaner.
You mean
And
the audio or?
Audio and like just you're more in tune.
Okay, yeah.
I feel like with what's happening because
Yeah.
you're in real time. Like how it sounds.
Yeah, that's also true. Yeah, and yeah, also.
Okay, just before I start, like, do you have an intro or anything, or do you just start?
No, we just start talking.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this actually setup is pretty sick.
And yeah, I like being able to like keep it as minimal as I can because I mean I told you that I didn't think of getting a mixer. That's why I didn't get a mixer, because in my mind I was like, all those settings I don't know what to do for each of them.
Oh, there is much to do.
There's nothing to do other than keeping the gain up, and then you got a software for the thing. You can mess around with it a bit, but even that's like very minimal.
Then audio tweak,
yeah, because I think this is used mainly for music, and then sound engineers like mess around with what's been recorded afterwards,
like after edits.
Yeah, in post.
Now that makes sense, to be honest, because the audio mixer, but like sometimes obviously normally for travel either, if you're taking it somewhere and then one of the dials like change, you have to check it to make sure it's like exactly how it was before.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you don't have to. There's only 2 dials. You just checking the input.
Yeah, but it's just like guest would you have to connect it to an audio mixer, or is something
if I have
else?
more than 2 people, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, if I have more than 2 people, then I'll have to connect it to a different mixer.
Would you have to get like a mixer like mine, or is there something like less, like more compared?
I can connect it to a mixer, or I can also connect it to, I think, there is something else as well. So I don't have to use a mixer if I want.
Okay.
But
yeah, that'll be alright.
Yeah, but for the moment anyway, I prefer doing it. It's like one to one.
Yeah, it's I feel like it's more personal.
Yeah, and also I think there's it's personal, and you can just have a more like honest and like deep conversation.
Like 1-to-1. No, that makes sense.
And you get to learn more about the other person as well.
Yeah.
When you do it 1-to-1.
Yeah, because like you're asking,
you're
getting.
Yeah, you'll get it. Like you learn way more about the other person, which I like. For me personally, I like asking questions.
Yeah.
Right? So I get to do that, and I get to do it in a format where it's kind of a brand new thing.
Yeah. Curious. Yeah, you have to be curious, like when we're doing podcasts. You have to be that kind of person that wants to like know stuff. Like, firstly, you have to be open-minded. I don't think you can do like a good podcast and get away with it if you're not open-minded.
Yeah, and I guess the more open-minded you are, the more people you'll be happy to talk to and kind of listen to their ideas instead of being dismissive.
Exactly, because obviously you're gonna have people on that's not gonna. To be honest, I was thinking about this. It's good to have people that don't agree with you, because then that's when you get to learn about why this person thinks this way. Kind of, you're understanding a different perspective, as opposed to you're just talking to people that, like, it's very similar with your way of thinking.
Yeah,
you're not really learning much.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I realized that a lot more in the last couple of years, that I was going down that path where I was just talking to people that I agree with.
Yeah.
And it wasn't by choice or anything. It was just that.
Yeah.
It's just how it was happening. Then I realized, and I thought, oh shit, I need to start thinking a bit more differently and being more open to other ideas.
Yeah, because obviously when you're talking to people that that agrees with you, it's just like, yes, there's, I don't know,
there's no pushback, is there?
Yeah, exactly. You're not being challenged in any sort of way.
Yeah, And I think that's when you really grow as a person. And you get challenged.
Exactly.
And then you're kind of forced to think about something in a different way. Which opens it up more.
It's just like another person's perspective on whatever you're talking about, really. Because there's always like so many different ways of thinking about everything, really, isn't there? Like it's not just one way, one answer fits all.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just checking your mic.
Dada. What's happening?
I don't know if you're picking up. Yeah, that's good.
Welcome, do you want to like hear back? You play and നമുക്ക് pause ചെയ്തിട്ട്. I'm loving these mics, by the way. They sound so much cleaner than mine. Like I was telling you yesterday, like, these sound like so much cleaner. But yeah, so these are dynamic mics.
Yeah, these
That's
are
what
dynamic
I need to
mics.
look into.
Yeah. And I think you can also get condenser mics, but I think from what I understood when I was like doing all the research and stuff, those are designed for studio conditions.
Yeah, so it like everything there's like soundproofing and everything.
Yeah, so if you've got a room that's soundproof and stuff, then it's really good.
Yeah.
And also, if you do work on it in post production as well, then it comes out really clean.
Right.
But then you need to know what to do, which I didn't.
Yeah, that's the thing. Either you gotta know how to do all of this stuff, or you gotta have someone else like working for you, like on the side that does all of this. Like he's a pro basically, and we're not at that level where we can hire someone just for that. You know what I mean?
Hopefully one day.
Yeah, of course, man. All down the line. Yeah. It's just starting, like it's never gonna be perfect when you start. It's like with whatever you do, really, like you're learning along the way, and then you get better and better over time.
Is that something that you've always kind of done then? When once you start something, you've always been able to kind of stick to it?
Bro, it depends. It all depends on like what my end goal is. Like let's like talking about like studies for once, right? Like no one enjoys studying. Do you know what I mean? Like when you're at uni or whatever, you're not really enjoying the actual studying bit, but it's like you're focusing on the goal, like the end goal, like you want to get this result or you want to get this degree, whatever it is. So I think it's more to do with how important the end goal is to you. Like I could start boxing, for example, and then not enjoy it. But at the start I might be like, yeah, like I'm gonna do this, like I'm on it, whatever. But then I might start it and not enjoy it, and then therefore I'm not gonna like be consistent towards it. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I think it all depends on I mean, you have to enjoy it in some sort of way. Well, I think if you want to be consistent over time and get to wherever you want to get to.
Yeah. So when you're going gym and working out and all of that, is that kind of what you see? So you're looking at the end result and the actual workout itself.
So initially when I started working out, it was mostly due to like vain purposes, just to look good. This is when I was 15, 16, like young. Back then it's just about like impressing your friends and all those people, and like you wanna do something, get a good body and impress people. Literally, I still remember I used to take photos and stuff all the gym, like in the gym, frequently.
Yeah.
Just purely for vain purposes, but it wasn't like I was in great shape or anything. Just for the fun of it, really. Things changed truly. I think one time, I went to India and I was there for like 3 months, and I had literally nothing to do. Because I don't really have friends in India. Like, I've got a few cousins, but I've only got like 1 or 2 cousins my age. And at that age, we weren't really doing anything. So for most of my time in India, I was just literally stuck at home, and it was dead.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, when you're used, like, obviously when we're here, we're always out doing stuff, like with your friends and whatnot. But when I was there, I was literally doing nothing, like literally nothing. And then for some reason, I was just going through a period where I was just like constantly watching gym videos, like like fitness people basically, like workout videos and all of that, and I was just replicating what they were doing, like literally. So I would watch videos and then I would go try that in the gym, and then I like during those 3 months, I was just at the gym every day. I used to do like a home workout and then go gym as well. Like I was on this like crazy route. I don't even know why. I think, well, to be honest, it's because I had nothing to do.
Do you think you ended up overtraining?
I definitely did, 100%. But then, because we were like, I was like probably like 17, 18. Like I was really young.
Yeah.
And then at that age, your body can take anything. Do you know what I mean? Like your body rebounds quick. But the problem was I was cutting. Like, I didn't know what cutting was, but I was just under eating. Bearing in mind this was in India as well.
Yeah.
Like I was eating pretty clean. Like say for example, like when chapati chingarega I used to have like 2, max 3 chapati. Like it was crazy. Like I was working out a lot, but then under eating as well. But at the same time, my strength was going up. That was because it's like my first time in the gym properly.
Yeah.
So even if you're not working out hard, your strength is still gonna go up. Like that's when you progress the quickest. And then like when I came back from India, like there was a lot like big changes in the way I looked and like strength and everything. So I was like, oh shit.
Did you notice the changes while you were in India, or was it after you came back? Obviously, you'd been gone for that long, so people start pointing it out.
I think I realized it, but it was more so because my friends started pointing it out.
Oh, okay.
So that's when I was like, oh shit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, I like, when you're that age, it's all about like, I think you pay a lot of attention to what other people think.
Yeah.
I mean, still you do, but then you obviously you grow out of it a bit. But yeah, it was, I think, more to do with friends pointing it out, and then I was like, shit, like, this changes, it's working, kind of thing. And then yeah, it's just been something I've kind of just kept doing. Like routine, essentially, just something you just force yourself to do.
Yeah. Do you think that discipline from gym has kind of leached its ways into like other parts of your life?
Bro, like whenever I look at the foundation of like the discipline I've learned and everything, it all goes back to the gym for me, which sounds crazy.
Yeah.
But like, so essentially what probably another year or 2 years after this, when I came back from India and stuff, I started doing like 3-month routines. Like it was bodybuilding.com. There was like loads of different routines that you could. It was all free.
Yeah.
And it's like 3-month programs and stuff. So I did that, but then I was so strict. Like my diet was fully clean, like whole food, bro. I used to have like boiled chicken and stuff. Like it was dead. The food was dead. Like no spices. But then it was like my first ever kind of diet and everything that I'm doing. So I like at that time I thought, it has to be dry, dead food, basically. And then like the workouts, everything. There was like no cheat meals for 3 months, and it was mad at that age. But because of those, I think after those three months, like I was just disciplined, just through sticking with like the diet, the routine, and everything.
Yeah.
Like obviously, you know when you're young and stuff, it's hard to not cheat, like with food, especially in an Indian family where there's like good food all the time. So it was like I was making my own food and everything. So, and at that age, I didn't know how to cook. So like like I said, food is dead. But from doing all of that, like learning that, like discipline, being strict with that, I think that transcended to all kinds of aspects of my life, which is weird. But it did. Like whatever I do, well, I wouldn't say whatever I do, but if I'm like strict with it, and I'm, like I was saying previously, if I have an end goal, then it's just that discipline goes and plays itself with whatever I was doing.
Yeah.
It's like when people say I'm not motivated to do this, like I don't have that motivation, whatever. It's always such a weird statement for me, because like motivation for me is short term, like it's short lived.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. It's just that start where you're motivated, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't have the motivation every single day to do something.
Exactly. Motivation doesn't, like, you can't be motivated every single day. There's absolutely no way. Even let's say you start gym for the first time, then you go for the week. The first week you'll be excited because you're starting something new. Do you know what I mean? Like you're pumped, you're hyped to do this. But then after the first 1 or 2 weeks, like, there's no motivation left. Motivation isn't gonna carry you through that.
Yeah.
That's discipline. That's the difference between discipline and motivation. You have to be disciplined to stay consistent and do it no matter what.
You see that in the gym as well, right? So when New Year's come, like you see all like the gyms packed. January, maybe in February as well. But then like when March comes around, like all the new people,
there's a big dip.
There's a big dip. Yeah. Like you stop seeing those faces again.
Exactly. It's like everyone's motivated when they start anything new, really, because it's new. So you're naturally going to be excited for it. But without discipline, you're not sticking with it. Like, you know, that's what happens to most people though. They start something and then they're never consistent. Like they do it for like a short period of time because they're hyped to it, but then they might be expecting results in that short period of time. Or like it could be a number of different reasons. But there's no way you're gonna like reach whatever the end goal is without being like consistent, having that discipline. Well, that's what I think.
So, talk to me about your injury. Like you're saying that you weren't able to go gym for like a long time. Like what happened?
Yeah, so I injured my shoulder.
Was it at the gym?
No, that's the funny thing. I've never injured myself in the gym.
Never?
Yeah, it's always been outside. But I think it was like 4 or 5 years ago. Now, probably 5 years ago. So I went to gym and I had like a chest day, and then afterwards I went to play badminton, which is a bit stupid because my shoulder's already taxed. And then just kind of my shoulder like joint, it just kind of came off. Yeah. Well, that's what it felt like anyway.
Yeah.
And then ever since then, it's just been like a pain in the background kind of thing. It's just like being there. But then I went through the NHS route, which was pretty dead. Because basically, I mean, in order to get like an MRI and all of that stuff, well, initially you don't even get an MRI in the start.
No,
so it was like initially the whole process of like just painkillers, all of that, and then it took about like a few months for me to even get physio.
But it's shocking how bad it is in the NHS, isn't it? Like for young people, it's really fucking shit.
But I do understand why it's shit, because it's free, and they have to provide that same service to like everyone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So it can't really be personalized to you because obviously they don't have the facilities, they don't have the funding for that. So it has to be like for a major, basically a group of people. That was my physio session. It was like a group of people together at once. It wasn't like individualized for me.
Oh, okay.
So then, it's very stupid of my part because I just listened to everything they were saying, like the GP, the physio and everything. I was just listening to what I was saying. So they told me that I shouldn't be lifting, all of that. I mean, I was still lifting, which kind of did make it worse. But then I fell on my shoulder like another 2-3 times, just playing football. It was always like doing something else. It was like sports or whatever. It was never in the gym.
Right. Do you think that's, again, goes back to that kind of, obviously at that point you've got that routine set in your life where you're always moving about, right?
Yeah.
So you can't sit still after you've had that.
Yeah. No, but I feel like at that age you don't listen to anyone.
I guess that's also true. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If the GP, like if the doctor was saying like don't do this, whatever, you just like I can find a way around it. Like, you're very that's what you are when you're young, though. You're very arrogant in a way. Like you think you know what's right for you.
Yeah.
And then you stick to that. So, but no, to be honest, like my major mistake was not going to a private physio. or like honestly, if I, because in the end, I went with the NHS route, got an MRI, all that shit, and then I had to get surgery in the end
Yeah.
because I truly believed I've wasted everything else. Like I've tried everything else, and there was nothing left for me to do.
Yeah.
But get surgery to to fix my shoulder. Because in my head, I was like, so I went nearly 3 years without doing any upper body, which was crazy because I've always been to the gym, and like I was saying, the gym is what kind of taught me discipline and whatnot. So like it was a very like hard kind of few years when I wasn't able to go to gym. I mean, I could do legs, but you can only do legs for so long.
Yeah.
So then, like, eventually, I just got the surgery. But then everyone told me not to get the surgery because, the surgery is always like a last option. You should never just go for a surgery when it's not like a crazy. My injury wasn't crazy. Do you know what I mean? I still had like function, like I still had mobility to a certain extent and stuff. I just couldn't lift weights.
Yeah.
But for me, it was like the end. Like I just wanted to get back and lift weights, basically.
Do you think if you had gone through the private physio route, you probably would have ended up not needing the...
I am like 100% sure that I wouldn't have got the surgery. Because like I still remember the first time I went to the private physio, and then I took my MRI results and everything, and he was like, there was no need for you to get the surgery. Like it was so pointless.
Okay.
Like, and then, but at that time I was like it was such like a hit to me because I'm thinking like, yeah, sure, I got the surgery. Do you know what I mean? Like now it's gonna get fixed. But then I felt like it truly felt like my shoulder got worse,
After
even
the
though
surgery.
like, and then I was following like all of the exercise and everything to a T. Like I was so strict with everything because obviously I was like raring to go. I was just waiting to start the gym back, and get back to like to how I was. But yeah, the like private physio, obviously that's personalized to you. So I had like certain exercises. Also, one other thing he said was like, "Why are you like not going gym?" Like he said, you have to have some form of movement within like the actual shoulder. For it to heal, there has to be movement. Like if you just rest it, it's not gonna just automatically heal itself.
Yeah.
Like essentially what he was telling me was first you need to like build on mobility of the shoulder. So I need to do like basic exercises with bands and stuff, and to increase my mobility of the shoulder essentially. Once I've got mobility, that's when you add strength, like strength training to it, and slowly strengthen up like the stabilizer muscles and stuff. And literally probably a month after I was back in the gym. Obviously when I started it was like very, very light. It was as light as when I initially started gym when I was like 15, 16. Because I was literally starting from scratch, essentially. So that was a bit depressing, but then I was just excited to be back in the gym.
Did that feel like your ego had taken a bit of a hit? Because obviously, you're talking.
Yeah.
You started gym like 10 years back, right? So you're
Yeah.
starting at that point again.
It was a bit, but I went to it. To be honest, I went into it knowing I'm gonna be weak, like because I didn't really care. I didn't even focus on the weights because I was just so excited to just be back in the gym, like just to feel that.
Yeah.
Like it's weird. Like I mean, obviously not many people can, like might be able to relate, but like people that do, are into fitness and stuff can relate to that. But I was just excited. Like I still remember I used to wear like massive baggy oversized tops and stuff because I didn't want to like show anything because back then like I was like quite fat, or because I wasn't really doing. I mean I was still doing like homework. I was doing COVID and stuff, but didn't really didn't really do much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I literally started like really light. It was like I was telling you, like I was started on like 6-8 kg dumbbells and stuff, on like chest and whatnot, or whatever it is. But it was just like I had sessions constantly. Like I had like a physio session like every week, every 2 weeks or something.
Okay.
And then, but it was like the physio was sick, man, because I would tell him exactly, because I'd made like a journal of what I was doing, like the exercise I was doing, the way I was doing, the reps I was doing, everything. So I used to show him, and then he used to be able to like see, my progress or whatnot, what I need to do, and then he used to add like specific shoulder stabilizer exercises.
Oh, okay.
To build on that. So that used to be my focus, and then it was like the generic, exercises like rows or dumbbell chest press or whatever it is. So it was always, I would focus on the shoulder exercise first and then move on.
They're more invested in you as well, aren't they?
Yeah.
Your physiotherapists, like, they want you to, I mean, I'm not saying like, the people in the NHS don't want you to get better, but they want to get you so good that they actually put, in my eyes, way more effort into seeing you get better.
I think it's like, it's their job at the end of the day, and how well they do is dependent on how well their clients do. It's like when you're working for the NHS, they're getting a set wage. Like no matter how, whether the client is feeling good or not, they're still getting the wage. But private physios, they're working for themselves. Do you know what I mean? Like, so if you're not good, you're not going to get clients. So like it makes sense why private physios are a lot better than NHS and stuff. It makes sense because they're working for themselves.
Yeah, they've got an incentive, right?
Exactly.
To provide the best care that they can.
Yeah, but like, I mean, it's weird, and like, if I took that step, then I would never have had that surgery, and I probably would have been in a much better place. Like now, no matter what I do, like my shoulder is still not going to be fully stable. Like it's never going to be as good as what it was before, because I've had like it's been opened up essentially. My shoulder's been opened up. So, well, that's what the physio was explaining basically. Like, you can get the strength and everything back in your shoulders. You can like go back to lifting what you were lifting more, whatever. Like all that's fine, but like I still have to be wary of my shoulder.
Okay.
Like I have to be careful because it can still come out. It's not a full dislocation. It's called a subluxation. It's like a part dislocation. So that can happen at any time.
Okay.
Like I could just be moving my arms fast, and then it could pop out.
Okay. Because when we were working out, you're all about that controlled movement.
Yeah, it's like,
is that something you developed after the injury?
Yeah, definitely. Like back in the days, I used to be like a proper, like a typical gym bro kind of thing. Like I used to just focus on just lifting weights. It was never about like the movement, the form did matter, but it was just ego lifting essentially. It was just how much more can I lift kind of thing. But now, after injury, it's just I think I've become a lot more of a smart like lifter in terms of how I focus on the actual movement itself as opposed to just lifting for the just getting. It's like getting the difference between moving the weight from A to B as opposed to how you're moving it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, time under tension, all of that shit. But yeah, I mean, I'm progressing without having to, even though my shoulders like a bit unstable and stuff, but I'm still able to progress because I'm training smart.
And I guess you've kind of developed that over time as well now, right?
Yeah, I think, I mean, ever since my injury, I've just never been like, I've not been crazy. I've just been taking it slow. Like, even when it comes to like going up in weights and everything, it's been very, very slow. I'm not even going to risk like lifting some crazy weight, because the risk to reward is, it's not worth it for me. Because if I get injured again, I know I'm back. Like I'm out for at least a few months, and I know I can't go through that. Like I don't want to go through that again, because I've already been through that for a long time, and like I know what it did like to my kind of mental.
Yeah, mentally it ruins you, doesn't it? Because that's what it was like for me when my knee got screwed up. I couldn't walk for about 4-6 months. I was limping all the time. I couldn't even squat down properly because my knee would buckle and give out. And then I was like, I remember going to the NHS to get an MRI, and I I went to A&E and I was literally just begging them to refer me to an MRI.
Yeah.
And I got one. I was really lucky, but like 6 or 8 weeks away. In that time, I was going to India as well. So I went to India, paid for an MRI, came back with the scans, and I had my MRI with NHS after that. And in that MRI, in the referral after that, they were like, "Oh, your knee's going to be fine. You can do whatever you want to do. You can get back to working out and stuff." But I was still limping and could barely walk.
It's like I really don't understand it. Like shit like that. Like the NHS, right? They look at all of this evidence and they say you're fine, but then you know yourself that you're not fine. Like you're the one going through that pain. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I spoke to a physiotherapist who used to work for the NHS. He runs a private clinic now, and what he essentially said was, because of my age, because I'm young, because I can still move, and because the injury doesn't affect my job. Like those are the three things they look at. And if they can tick all those three things, then they will sign you off, because they're not.
According to them, you're healthy.
Yeah, they don't care about the patient treatment per se. They care about making sure you can leave, because as soon as you leave, there's 10 other people coming in, and he likened it to steering a massive cargo ship, like the whole NHS as a whole. Like you just can't do it because it's that big and that bloated up.
And there's not that many people. I also feel like they focus a lot more on like how it's mentally affecting you. Because I remember like after a long time, I used to like, obviously I got to a point where I was like mentally, it was mentally fucking me up, and then I didn't even go into detail. I just told them like, you know, it's affecting me mentally kind of thing, and then I felt like the MRI appointment date, it got moved up a lot, like, which is crazy, you know, like, but I feel like you could just chat shit and literally just say,
yeah, I mean that's what I did. Like when I went to any, I was just like begging them and was saying like, I don't know what's wrong, just please help me. And that's when he was like, okay, I'll see what I can do.
That's a bit crazy though. Like you have to get to that position for them to give you an appointment, like quick.
Like that's what I was saying. Like yesterday, like for counselling, I tried to go to the NHS and they said that I wasn't severe enough, like to get referred for therapy. And I was like, how bad do I have to get for you to tell me that I need, like, you know, professional help?
Yeah, like how are you assessing this?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm the one sitting at home going through what I'm going through. I know do you know what I mean? Like, you've got no idea what I'm going through. And if I say I need counselling, there's a reason why I say I need counselling. It's mad.
Yeah. Especially when I guess you kind of realize that you need counselling as well. It's like, that's when I think a lot of people are like, oh shit. That's when you hit that moment, like kind of breaking point.
You know, like I was telling you yesterday, I think most of us actually do need counselling. We just never acknowledge that and like accept it. Like we just like, it's fine. We just put it aside kind of thing. But like realistically, I honestly do feel like a lot of us, especially after COVID, after the lockdown and stuff, I definitely do feel like a lot more people do need counselling, because it definitely did affect a lot more people than, like, you know, what's said.
Yeah, I remember, like, I think it was some kind of stat which was saying that people who were like in lockdown, relationships and that kind of things got worse. I think it was like before lockdown, it was like 1 in 3 relationships had reports of like domestic abuse and things like that. Was before the pandemic even happened,
and it got worse.
And it got worse during lockdown. And you can see it in like reports that are published that so many couples got like divorced and like all of that kind of stuff happening. And it became, obviously, when you're locked up with your partner.
Yeah, and you've got nothing else to do. You can't go out, and you just like you're locked up with just one person or what? Like, obviously you're gonna go crazy. I mean, you yourself are gonna go crazy.
Yeah.
Just with your own mental challenges and stuff. But then if 2 people are both going crazy at each other as well,
it's a whole new can of worms, isn't it?
Yeah, it's obviously not gonna end up well.
So when you started your podcast, like well, obviously you started it with Nikhil, but you were saying that, did you guys decide to start it together, or?
Yeah. So, like, we were saying, it was, I've said this before, it was like Nikhil's idea to actually start the podcast. I just had like the kit ready. We had a place to do it. And then obviously we're living next to each other, like half an hour distance away. So it was like, and we're both very curious people, like, so it just felt perfect to just get it going. I mean, like, to start a podcast, to get it going, it isn't actually too much of a task.
No.
I think the task is to actually stay consistent and have guests on,
Yeah.
and keep posting. That's the actual challenge.
It's that whole difference you were talking before about discipline versus motivation,
Yeah,
isn't it?
exactly. Like, all of us, like, the people that work, right? They, even though they might not like their job, they're forced to go to the job, right? How are you doing that? Like, if you can force yourself to go to a job to get a salary or whatnot, like, just apply the same principle to stuff that's gonna develop you as a person.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, this podcast isn't gonna make you like crazy amounts of money, man. But it's like you're doing something for your own, like, for yourself. Essentially, you're building your own brand. You get to talk to like all kinds of different people. You're like learning about different perspectives. Like, even when we were doing the podcast yesterday, I was telling you, like, when we were talking about counseling and all that stuff,
Yeah.
it's like you learn like shit about your own self by talking to other people, because you're getting to hear someone else's perspective.
Yeah.
And then it just opens up your own mind. But obviously, to start off with, you have to be open-minded to even take and like other people's opinions and whatnot.
Yeah. And you have to be authentic as well, don't you?
Yeah.
Because people will sniff it out. Especially if you're talking for like an hour and a half, 2 hours, and you're not interested in the conversation, but you're just doing it for the sake of it.
Yeah.
Like, people will see that.
I feel like in today's society, it's very important to have like open platforms like this, where you can just talk and be real, essentially, not be like a fake robot. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Because that's what most people are just I feel like it's like fake it till you make it, but for like silly things, or like for their daily lives, of people are just, they're living this fake lifestyle. It's all fake. Everything's fake. I feel like it's like you check on Instagram, everyone projects a fake lives for themselves. Like, they look like everyone, they're like always happy. They're living this crazy life. They've got like a shitload of money, but then that's never the case, though, isn't it? Like,
but do you think the public sees it more now? Because I feel like we're more aware of things that are fake. Because even in the media as well, you're more aware of when you're lied to, right? Like,
yeah.
In the news, I think we're living in an age where no one trusts the news to give you the news.
Yeah.
Which is crazy when you think about it, because like growing up, maybe like, I don't know, 10, 20 years ago, that was not the case.
But do you not feel like, even though all of that's happened, like, the news still controls like a lot of people, like the media and stuff? You can still, what I mean is, like, the media is so, like, the misinformation that's coming out of the media, it still affects a large percentage of the population. Like, they still believe like some random bullshit like that comes out.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. I think because it's becoming less and less facts, and it's becoming more and more opinions.
Yeah.
Like, they disguise, well, they have an opinion, and then they morph those facts to suit their narrative.
Exactly. Because at the end of the day, they're making profit.
Yeah.
So they're gonna sell headlines on whatever makes profit. And negative news usually makes more profit.
That's crazy, isn't
Negative
it?
news sells more than positive news. That's always been the case.
Yeah. And we're on from like one negative thing to the next negative thing. It was COVID, then it was the Ukraine war, and now it's abortion being banned, and then there was a mass shooting in Norway, like yesterday.
Right. But no one points out like any of the good shit that happens in the world. Like, mate, to be honest, like, I don't even look at the news. Like, honestly, I just feel like you look at the news and it's just like, it just puts you down, because it's just full of like the worst of the worst news that's out there. That's what they project out. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's not. I try to not concentrate on things that I have no control over. Like all of this stuff that's happening. You, what can you do to like actively make a change? Like,
Nothing really.
so why focus on it? Like, obviously acknowledge it's happening, understand what's happening and stuff. It's good to know what's happening, but whatnot. But you don't need to let all of that affect your own life and like your own progress or whatnot. Do you know what I mean? Like, just focus on your own shit.
Do you do that more now? Where
I do think so. I try to just focus on myself, the close people around me. I just trying to prioritize like what's important to me. Do you know what I mean? Like, try to suss out the bullshit essentially. Like, what I don't need in my life, I don't need.
have you got better at that as you've got older?
I definitely do feel like the older you get, but I think it all comes with experience. Like, life experiences. You go through different shit in your life, and then you learn from it.
Yeah.
Like, hopefully you learn from it. Like, there are like loads of people that make the same mistakes over and over again. They still like never learn, but you have to go through like shit in your. I mean, everyone does anyway. Life's never just a straight road up. There's always bumps along the way. But I feel like it's a learning curve, like mistakes that you make, shit that like all the negative stuff that happens in your life. There's two ways of looking at it. You can either take it on board, learn from it, move on and grow, or you can take it, like let it affect you for the rest of your life. Like, do you know what I mean? And have it there in the back of your head.
But yeah, you were saying that when you first started going gym, you were kind of doing it for the vanity reasons, and because you cared about what other people think.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you think, obviously, you've grown out of that, with regards to working out and stuff? So now, has that kind of changed the other aspects as well? So now, like you were saying, you kind of tend to not think about the things that you can't control. Obviously, what someone else thinks you, or what someone else thinks in general, that's something you can't control, right?
Yeah, I would never say like I don't care at all. Like there are still like, obviously when you get compliments and like all of that stuff, it's still it still makes you feel good, but I've learned to just try my best to not give a fuck about like all this external bullshit of like what other people think and whatnot. It's because it's pointless. All it does, it's like it's like a blockage. It's like negative, like a blockage in your head. Like it fills you up to a level where that's the only thing you concentrate on, and then every other aspect of your life is automatically affected by it. And then you don't even realize it. Like, you were telling me, when you were going through like a hard time and stuff, how that affected everything else in your life.
Yeah.
But then when you're going through it, you don't realize that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
But if you could find a way to let that, like that negative cloud, like if you can just let it go, obviously, I mean, it's easier said than done, especially when you're going through it. That's the hardest thing to do.
Breaking out of it is the hardest thing you could probably do. But once you do break out of it, you kind of take a step back and you're like, fuck. That's what I was going through. And that's all the shit that happened as well.
Yeah.
Like I was telling you, it's mad when you look back and you're like, fucking hell, I can't believe that's what was happening. It's
like being locked in a small, tiny room. Like,
yeah, exactly.
And then you're trying to get out, but you can't. Like, it feels like there's no way you can possibly get out.
Yeah.
But then, once you do find a way out, like, that saying, there's always light at the end of the tunnel. It's like, eventually you will get out.
Yeah, that's really true as well. I mean, I don't resent the experiences that I've gone through.
Yeah.
I think ultimately it's made me become a better person, and it's definitely helped me made me stronger as well.
Yeah.
And now I know that I'm not gonna put up with any more bullshit that comes my way. You know what I mean?
This is what I mean. Like, I feel like when you're young, it's good to go through that, as opposed to like growing up, getting to like a certain age, and then having to go through, because I feel like you've got more to lose. When you're young, like it doesn't matter. You can just you can obviously at the time hard and whatnot, but like you can still break out and you've still got a whole life to like do whatever you want. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Like you're still young, and making mistakes is a part of life.
Exactly.
Like I don't understand. Well, I feel really. It's almost like I feel sorry when people say that. When like someone who's like 23 says, "Oh, I chose the wrong degree," and I'm like, so it's fine. You're 23. You can do what you want. You don't have to box yourself into this one thing.
But I do feel like a lot of that is because of society, and well, like for us Asians, a lot of it's because of our like family background and stuff.
Yeah,
because
that's true.
We've always been told like you can't fail, like when it comes to studies or whatnot. Like you have to do this or this. Like it's almost as though if you don't follow that path, go uni, get a degree and whatnot, and like get a good job, it's almost as though you just failed in life.
Yeah, it's almost like we're taught what to think, but we're not taught how to think.
Yeah.
Like you're not taught to like really critically think about something. Because like I was growing up, like when we were going to church and all that shit, like I'd have so many questions, and like I'd ask my parents, and they're like, "Why are you asking all these questions?"
Don't question it.
Like,
don't question it.
Yeah.
It's like blind belief.
Yeah, it's blind belief. Like I remember my mom saying, like, it's the devil who's making you think all these things, and I'm like, it's just me. That's just who I am. Like it is crazy, because it's like I think culturally I feel like we'd be a lot more like ahead if we are taught how to think instead of being taught what to think.
Like, and from a young age, like to think and kind of make your own decisions. Like obviously when you're young, your brain isn't developed enough to like actually for you to be making wise decisions.
No.
And I don't think you can expect teenagers or like young kids to be making wise decisions, but because it's part of life, and like you have to go through that period where you're just fucking up.
100%.
You have to go through that period, because if you don't, then eventually you don't want to grow up and then be that kid that makes fucked up decisions. But when you're like what 30 odd, do you know what I mean? You don't want to be that person.
Yeah, I mean, like looking back, I wish I'd been allowed to make more mistakes. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like to go through like more and then eventually come out of it, learn more, and then but I do feel like you're always gonna be making mistakes. That's just part of life. You're never gonna like. I used to think I couldn't wait till I get to 18 because like, oh, I'm an adult. Like I used to like, but that's not how it works. Do you know what I mean? Like
No.
that's such a stupid way of thinking. But not even 18. Like when I got to 13, I was like, shit, I'm a teenager now. Do you know what I mean? Like I used to think I'm like some big deal because I've fucking turned into a teenager. It's mad, and like the things you used to think when you're kids, but I think the more you grow up, the more you kind of understand that you know nothing. Like there's so much more to know.
Yeah.
Like you can't you can never get to a place where you know everything.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Like that's why I was saying, like seeing like young parents, it almost scares me, because I mean I'm sure like they might have their shit together, but just seeing someone who's like 21 or 22, just like 2 kids, and it's just a scary thought, because you're like, I can barely look after myself, and I'm still making like mistakes like along the way.
Exactly. How can you look after a child if you haven't even figured yourself out?
Yeah.
Like how? Do you know what I mean that? Yeah, that's crazy, man. It's crazy.
Do you think growing up, obviously being in Sunderland, you had a whole group of people, right? Do you think that's shaped you up into becoming who you've become?
Definitely, bro. Like because of like the friend circle we had, like we've had the same friend circle since I would say like properly like since secondary school. Like we've just been literally the same friends group. That I'm actually so grateful for that, because you don't really meet many people with like a solid friend circle like that's just stuck throughout. Like
from that early of an age, I think it's really rare.
Yeah, it's very rare. Like, like when I go to work or what, like you meet other people and then they might just have friends within their own, like within like work friends. That might be their only friends group.
Yeah.
Like just the people at work. Do you know what I mean? Like externally, they don't have that friend circle, whatnot. And I honestly can't even imagine not having my friend circle.
Yeah.
Because like, who am I chilling with? Do you know what I mean? Like you definitely need that. And that I think that definitely will help towards like your mental well-being and stuff. That kind of strong friend circle, like support group essentially.
Did you face like hardships and stuff within your group?
I mean, when we were in secondary school and stuff, there was like we were split up into two groups. I don't know if Jason told you, like, so Jason and stuff, we didn't like them. Like Jason was part of another group, and then we were part of another group, and then we hated the other group, which is like crazy. This is like in secondary school.
Is that for like no reason at all, or?
Yeah, essentially, yeah. No, actually, I think it was like they were in a different association or something.
Oh, okay.
I think that's what it was. Well, like it was linked to that. Yeah, and then we was like a year or two. We were just like that. Like even when we would come out into like break and lunchtime and stuff, they would stand in one corner. We would stand like, and then we would just look at and chat shit about the other group. Bro, it was crazy times, man. But then, and then like I think something happened with regards to like some beef, with like some like London boys or something like that. And then we all just came together as a group, and then from then on, everyone's just been like one. Like it's just been like Sunderland group.
That's really cool. You know, I remember like seeing like obviously I met you in, like first year when I was in first year, and then I met the rest of the Sunderland lot in second year because we had that house party, right?
The Stoke party.
Yeah. And I remember just because I was working that day, I remember coming home and I'm like, oh shit, there's this many people. Like, and that's when I obviously understood like how tight you guys are as well. And I remember thinking, oh fuck, like I wish I had that when I was growing up, because Exeter is a really small place, and there's a big age gap between all of us. So, and we were all in like different schools as well, so we didn't really have that kind of tight like group growing up.
Yeah.
But no, it's actually a really beautiful thing to see. Like,
like honestly, like when you have it, you don't realize how like meaningful that is. That's with everything in it. Like,
yeah.
But it's when you talk to people that don't have that, that's not experienced that. That's when you're like, shit. Like, I should be bare grateful for like all of the stuff. Like, I've got a happy family. I've got like a good friends group. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I've got everything to be grateful about. So like sometimes I'm just like, even like I was saying before, we all have our problems or whatnot. But then if there is like stuff we all have something we're grateful for. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, if you can kind of just focus on that, at least every now and then, do you know what I mean? Just look back, be like, at least I have this, I have that to be happy about. It's just a better way of going about in life, really.
Do you think that you do that more often now as well? Kind of reflecting on the things that you can be grateful for in your life, because you were saying that you don't, obviously the negative stuff that you can't control, so there's no point thinking about it. So kind of thinking about the positive things, it almost reinforces you into having a positive outlook and a mindset.
Yeah, I feel like I just think a lot more. I feel like I'm a lot more self-aware of what's happening around me. I try to concentrate on, like, if I'm like, I don't know, maybe stressed or whatever, like I try to like work it out as like, why am I stressed? Like, like what's the root cause? Obviously, like, you can't always do that, but then it's just trying, like you just try to do it, like you try to work that shit out, and then if you can figure that out, that's at least one tiny thing that you figure out, and then you move on to the next thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, with whatever it is, you have to make a start. And then, like, especially when it comes to your mental well-being, it's like no one knows. I do feel like a lot more people is paying attention to like mental well-being now. It's talked about a lot more, which is great. Because when we were growing up, that wasn't a thing. No. Like you
yeah, I mean, like, we come from a culture where mental health is thought of as like not being real.
Yeah.
Because I remember one of my friends, her mum told, like, when she told her mum that she was having like mental health problems, or like she's struggling with her mental health. I think her mum was like, "That's not like, it's not a real thing." So it's crazy to come from a culture like that where it's like it's negatively reinforced, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of saying that you might have something wrong with you.
Bro, it's like if I was to go out and tell people that like I'm going through like something, I'm mentally like fucked up or whatever, they'd just say I'm crazy. That would literally be the first response they would think, like, oh, you must be crazy, because that's the way we've been brought up, like, to think, oh, so if you're not perfect, not even perfect, if you're not acting like a normal human being, then you're crazy. But then who decides what normal is? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
normal, it's such a relative term, and like, what's normal to you might not be normal to me.
Yeah.
There's a big grey area there, and like
yeah. Oh, that is nuts, isn't it? Just who decides what normal is? You don't think, like, when people say stuff like that, they don't think about that specifically.
Yeah.
Like when did you decide what normal is?
Exactly. But I do feel like it's within, like, for our culture to change, it's a generational change that needs to happen in.
100%. Like, I think it's going to take like good 2-3 generations for like
for it to, but then, like, what's it going to be then? Like, it gets replaced by something, innit? Whether that be good or bad, we don't know whether that's going to be good. Like, the way society is going now, it seems to be a lot crazier than what it is.
It's a bit of a coin flip.
Yeah, exactly. But then, like, obviously I feel like in today's society, right, everyone has freedom to do whatever, which is good. But that's also brought out the actual crazy people with like the crazy theories.
Yeah.
And like fucking flat earthers for once, like believe in what you want to believe in, but do you know what I mean? There's like some shit that's like,
this is, how do you believe that, right?
There's some stuff that's like there's concrete evidence. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
when you go in against concrete evidence, stuff like that. I mean, that's just one example. There's loads of other things like that.
No, you're right. Do you reckon it's the fact that obviously when our parents and stuff are growing up, and like even when they moved here, like we were saying, they moved to a different country where they don't speak the language, don't know anyone. They moved purely for a job, so they're not, like, they've got actual problems, like putting food on the table, making sure their family's housed, clothed, and all of that.
Yeah.
So those are like actual struggles, right? So probably, I think it's a lot to do with the fact that we're so blessed to be growing up in this day and age.
Yeah.
Like, we don't know actual hardships.
Exactly.
Like, when we're in uni, like, we're broke as fuck, but it's not real broke.
No.
Like, you can ask your parents and they will give you money. Like, they'll give you money, like, no questions asked, you know?
But mate, even when we're in uni, even if we're broke, we're still having like the best time.
Yeah, that as well.
You find money somehow. You always manage to. And the only reason you don't have money is because you overspend.
Yeah.
Like, but not everyone, but like, you tend to just go crazy with money because you can, and you've got that freedom. You're living out. Obviously, there's parties every week. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's all that stuff going on. So it's like, it's not essentially because you're broke. It's just you're shit at handling money. But but that's understandable at that age, because when you're at uni, obviously part of uni is having fun, in it.
And like, so I think in this day and age, like, you look for problems when there aren't problems, and then you just end up like fixating on something that you think is a problem, but really it's it's not a fucking issue.
Yeah, like even when you don't have a problem, you make up a problem.
Yeah.
And it could be like could be the dumbest shit, like, oh, I wanted to wear this, but it's fucking in the wash. Like, it could be silly shit. Do you know what I mean? Like, but people can turn the silliest stuff into a major problem. Like, but I don't know why they do it, but
They just do, don't they?
yeah, like, when you're at work and stuff and you listen to like people's problems and stuff, and you just like, one thing I can't stand is excuses. When someone's initial response to anything is, oh, it's because of this, oh, I just can't. I don't know why. I hate excuse. Like, I just call out on it. Like, I can't stand. Like, obviously there's legit excuses, and then it's like fucking bullshit excuses.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, that's one thing.
It's just not accepting responsibility, isn't it?
Exactly.
Because it is always easier to blame something or someone else for whatever like an issue is.
But I feel like if you're that kind of person and you don't change, it's gonna be there for the rest of your life, and it's always gonna, like, you're never gonna progress to a certain level if you're always blaming your shit on someone else.
Yeah, 100%.
Because no matter what happens, if your initial response is, oh, it's because of this, then you're never accountable. It's never your fault. So, like, how are you gonna fix it if it's never your fault? If it's always because of someone else, like,
yeah.
do you know what I mean? It's not your problem, so you're not gonna fix it. There's no change being made. You're obviously gonna make like an actual change when you acknowledge it's your problem. You're the one in the wrong. You've made that mistake. That's when you'll want to make a step towards changing it and whatnot.
Yeah. Do you think it's that some people just don't want to take any accountability for their own like shitty actions or like decisions?
Probably. It's the easier thing to do, really, innit?
Yeah, I guess
it's
like,
the easier thing to do. I think that's the main reason.
Like, yeah, it's like we were saying, like, most people don't want to confront their own behaviors or like whatever, because it's always easy just to kind of either put it in the back of your mind or say it's because of something else.
Yeah.
Right. Do you want to tell me about your vitiligo? Like, when did you find out that it was happening?
Well,
do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, I'm all over that shit now, so it's calm. So this, when I was telling you, I was doing like a 3-month
gym workout.
Yeah. So what I used to do was, like, every January I used to do like a 3-month program, and then I'd cut out like alcohol, junk food, everything. I just cut it out. It was like something I used to do. I don't know why. Like January.
Do you still do it, or
no? I don't do it now, because now I'm like a lot more balanced with whatever I do. But back then it was very.
Why were you doing it?
Just discipline, I think.
Okay.
I think that's all it was. It was just to. I've always been like when I do something, it's like full on, like to a crazy level.
Yeah.
Like I mean, I'm still like that to a certain extent, but now, like, I have a lot more balanced approach with everything. Like, when it comes to eating or having fun, whatnot, it's like just balanced.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I know I can't be going gym 5-6 days a week and then be drinking every week and then expect to have good progress. But that doesn't mean I need to fully cut out drinking. Do you know what I mean?
I get you.
Yeah. So back to it. So this, so it was. I think it was like, yeah. It was a long time ago now. It started off as just like a spot. It was just a white spot, and then I still remember looking in the mirror, and I was like, "Shit, the fuck is this?" And it was like randomly, like I just saw it when I was in the gym, and I still remember, like, I was with two of my friends, John and Anand, and I was like, "Oh shit, what's it?" And then it was like, "It's probably like, more." And I thought, because sometimes you get stuff and then it goes away, kind of thing, innit?
Yeah.
And then it started growing out, like, slow. It was very slow. It started growing out. And then I started, like, being a lot more like I started focusing on it a lot more because it was evident, and obviously it was in your face, innit? So you could tell, like everyone can tell. And then like eventually, I think it was like probably a few months after. That's when it like grew out to what it was. It was a lot bigger than what it is now.
Okay.
It was like under my eye and stuff. It was like a lot bigger than. That's when I went to the GP and stuff, and that's when they said it was this vitiligo, which is basically an autoimmune disease. It's basically when there isn't enough melanin produced in your body.
Yeah.
That's why it's like white. Even when the hair that comes from that place is white, comes out as white.
Okay.
And at that time I was like very, very, very insecure. Like I was going through a point where I wouldn't even go out to the shops. And I got this. It was basically like foundation or something, but they had they had a medical term for it. Which that was the term I always used, but essentially it was just makeup.
Okay.
Like it was a makeup in your own kind like color to hide it.
Yeah.
But then I used to always say like the medical term because I didn't want to say it was makeup. it was one of those ones that but then I still remember, bro. I wouldn't even go to like the corner shop without having it on.
Really?
Because I was so insecure about it. Because it's white, it stands out, and it like
Yeah.
And then like everyone stares. Like even now everyone stares, but obviously now I'm just used to it. But then like back then it was crazy because it obviously mentally like completely fucked me up because up until then I kept thinking I was like a mentally strong one, not because of the gym. I'm disciplined. I follow this like diet and all of that stuff. So I kept thinking I'm mentally strong, and then this happened, and like it completely my confidence levels and everything. It was like because I used to think when I used to have makeup on when people used to look at me, I used to be like, oh, they figured it out. I've got makeup on. Do you know what I mean? Like that's the thought that I used to always think. But it could just be like like how people just look at you and then look back.
Yeah.
It could just be one of those ones. But then in my head, I'm like, oh, that's what they're thinking about. That's what they're talking about. Like I kept it was like a virus, bro. It was crazy because it was taking over like my thinking.
Okay, so did it affect kind of everything that you were thinking about? Like, did you kind of end up in a situation where you're relating it back to that?
Like when I was home, it was fine because I'm not around any other people.
Did it affect your relationship at home?
Obviously, my parents. To be honest, my dad was calm. He didn't care. My mom was always telling me to cover it up because she was like, "Oh, like, they're gonna say this, they're gonna say this." But like, I don't blame my mom because that's how they grew up. Like so it's I know it doesn't come from a bad place.
Yeah.
Like it comes from a good place. So obviously at that time I didn't understand that. But then it all kind of made it worse and worse and worse because I was so insecure. Where I would get up and spend.
Yeah.
I would like spend a good half an hour trying to perfect it, so like people won't realize, like it's on my face.
1 second. Yeah, sorry. You were saying?
Yeah. So, So basically, this was this was college time. Yeah. So like before I used to go college and stuff, I used to I used to get up earlier to make sure I've got enough time to like put it on. That was the priority, like to make sure like the makeup I'm putting on is like it hides everything well, but then to a level where you can't tell it's makeup either.
Okay.
And I don't think I was that good at it because my friends and stuff knew. Obviously, I told them, so that was calm. But like, it was one of those, and like, obviously, some days it's not gonna come out perfect. So like, some people would ask me like, "Oh, like, have you put something on your face?" And I would deny it. Like, I would never say it to like other people because I was so like embarrassed of it, I guess. But yeah, it was like a crazy. I think I was like that for a good 2 years. I think 2 years or a bit longer than that. But yeah, that like it took over like the everything, like my own, the way I saw myself.
Yeah. What was it like when you told your friends?
Oh, my friends were all calm.
Like, were they supportive?
Yeah, they were all like up. They've had, obviously they used to take the piss, but that's what friends do.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like it was from a good place. Do you know what I mean? Like again, but bro, they were all like so calm. Like the people I was closest to, they were all calm. But then it was more like when you go out, and then like if I didn't have it on, well, to be honest, when I was hiding, obviously people didn't know. But then eventually I got to a place where I just thought like, fuck it, I don't need hide. It was just what I used to follow people that had vitiligo,
Okay.
and I used to like reach out, and I used to like ask them like how are you, like, you know, being so confident and whatnot, like how are you, like, fine, how was it, like, you know, after you stop hiding it and stuff. And then eventually I was just like, it was so spontaneous, I was just like, fuck it.
So did something happen specifically that changed your mindset, or was it just completely like random? You just wake up one day and you're like, I don't want to do that anymore.
I can't think of anything specific that happened. I was just like, I think I was just fed up of doing so much
Yeah.
to make it work every day.
I guess it's a lot to go through, isn't it? Obviously, like you're waking up early to put it on and then like go to.
Yeah, bro. Like imagine like 5 minutes down, like to walk to. I wouldn't go if I didn't have makeup on.
Okay.
Like so, it was.
Oh, it was like that close.
Yeah, like I would. It was essentially like I locked myself up, in a cage.
Yeah.
Like, but I did this myself. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't like
Mhm.
someone else doing it. But then, like, obviously, even when I stopped, it wasn't like, oh, I was over it. It was a huge step for me at that point. And then when I stopped hiding, and then, you know, I'm going to all these programs and whatnot, like, everyone's asking me, oh, what's it? Like, I still remember, bro, like, there was, like, I went to India for a wedding, and then people, like, all these cousins and stuff, were like, oh, you know, you used to look so good, but now, like, oh, how are you going to get married? Like, there used to be questions like that. It was like, but then obviously at that age, it proper put me down, and like, because
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. I can imagine.
when I'm by myself, I wouldn't think like that. But then when you're hearing from other people, then it's like, oh, it's another point that's in your head, like, to
Yeah.
think about now.
It's something that you never thought of, that like you wouldn't even think of by yourself.
Yeah.
But because they brought it up, now
Yeah.
you're thinking about it.
Now I'm thinking about it. Yeah. I mean, it took even though like I stopped wearing makeup and stuff, and then I came out of it and stuff. It still did take a while to get used to. The worst thing was just the people staring. Like, I don't blame them, because that's what you do. And if you see something that's different, you look.
Yeah.
But I mean, to be honest, here it's not that bad. Like when you go in India and stuff,
Yeah. I mean,
bro, they stare you out like it's crazy.
They don't give a fuck, do they?
Yeah, they like, it's crazy. Like here, people stare at you, but then like they look away.
They're more polite about it, right?
Yeah, like I do. Like it's like all the new people I've met, like no one's like bothered about it. But like if I'm like, I feel like if whenever I'm talking to like Malus, like not people our age, like uncles and aunties and stuff, that's the first question they always ask me. Oh, like you don't do it now.
Oh, okay.
Like, do you know what I mean? It's like the first. There might not even be a hello. That'd be like, oh, but I don't know. They might just be curious or whatnot. But
Have you found that it's always the people that you never talk to that come up and like say that? Like with like my aunties and uncles?
that, what do you mean, like, can't?
Like, so like you might just not talk to them like at all, but then obviously the stuff that they want to know is
just about that? Yeah. To be honest, like, I've got this question from like the majority of them.
Okay.
But I think it's just there's a difference in the way you asking it. Like, you can tell, like, some people are just curious, like purely just curious, wanting to know, and then there's some like, oh, like saying it in a bad way.
Yeah.
Like, oh, like, you have this, whatnot. Do you know what I mean? Like, But yeah, at that time, obviously, it was crazy. But yeah, now I don't give a shit.
No, it's amazing that you kind of broke free out of that thing. You know what I mean?
You know, the funny thing is, right? At that time, before I broke free, I was in like a crazy relationship, like a very hostile, crazy relationship. So like I came out of that, so I was already like mentally fucked up, and then, and after that, actually, I decided to come out, like take all of this off after that. So
Okay.
that might have been, or I probably thought like, oh, I'm out of this now, and let me just do something else crazy.
Yeah.
Maybe that played a part.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, like I'm so glad I did it like that. Even though it took me like a good 2 years to do it. Like,
Yeah.
because that's probably the worst, the most insecure I've been, and like I felt like, even though I've been like, you know, I told you I've been in a crazy relationship, this was definitely worse, because this was, I locked myself in my own cage, like I was saying.
Yeah.
Like, so it definitely felt a lot worse because like I intentionally did that.
And do you find yourself that you're a lot more like relaxed and like more happy with yourself now as opposed to before?
Bro, I feel like once once you kind of understand yourself, and then once like truly you know what you are, your worth is, you know how you look, whatever. Like once you truly understand that, I think then you naturally learn not to give a fuck
Yeah.
about other people's opinions. Obviously, like there are instances where you can still be affected by it, but I feel like it's short term. Like it affects you and then dies down because your own self worth like kind of outweighs like the negative aspect of someone else's comment or whatnot. Do you know what I mean? Because
Mm.
at the end of the day, you know your own self value. You know.
What's your advice to people who might be going through something like this? So obviously you went
Yeah.
through with Lago and all of that. Like, what would you say to someone who's probably facing the same kind of thing and kind of looking at the same choices that you made?
But it's like it's really hard because obviously when you're going through it, you don't see any other way around it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like even during that time, like there was still like all my friends were telling me like you don't need to. Do you know what I mean? Like you don't need to hide it.
Mm.
Like just be free kind of thing. But then you're the only one that like truly knows like you know what it's doing to yourself. Um, the only advice I would say is like you you have to force yourself to break through. Like
Yeah.
it has to be like there's never gonna be something like that comes up where oh it's gonna be easy to make that decision. It's never an easy decision. Like you literally just have to force yourself to do that, make that change, and then even when you make that change, it's not like oh shit, it's all worked out and like you're happy now.
Yeah.
It takes a while to adjust to like the new change, and it's any new change. It takes a while to adjust to it. It's the same like you know you were talking about like hostile relationships. Even to get out of a like a crazy relationship, you have to force yourself to do that. Innit?
Yeah.
Like your friends, all your close people might be telling you that just get out. Like this is not gonna work, kind of thing. But you still need to be the one to make that step, no matter what advice you're getting. On like everyone can advise you, but no one's walking in your own shoes in it. You're the only one that truly understands what you're going through.
Yeah.
I always say like people can advise you, people can motivate you, whatnot, but like no one can truly relate to what you're going through. It doesn't matter who it is, like they can never truly understand because you know one thing I always say is like we always compare our problems with different. Say for example, if I'm going through something, but then you're going through something what I perceive to be worse, I
Yeah.
can be like, oh, you're going through something worse than me, but then that doesn't really make sense because like what I think is my biggest problem is like what I've experienced. So I can't relate to what you've gone through. Do you know what I mean? So relative to everyone else.
Yeah. Do you think that gives a bit of perspective though? So obviously, if someone's telling you about their problems and it's a lot more difficult or severe than what you had to face, then do you think it kind of just puts it a bit more into perspective sometimes?
It does, but again, that's short term. Because when you go back to your house, you're the one looking in the mirror.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you're the one still facing your own issues. So, like, at that point in time, you're not going to be like, but that person's got it worse, so I should be grateful. You're never thinking about that.
Yeah.
You're only thinking about, like, the problem that you have. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Because as long as that's in the back of your head, that's what's, like I was saying before, it's like a virus. It's taking over everything.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you can talk to someone else, relate, and be like, oh shit, I've not got it that bad. That, for the short period of time when you're with that person or whatnot, you could be like, oh yeah, it's fine. But eventually, when you go back, you still have to deal with your own problems.
That's true, isn't it?
Yeah, it's one of those ones, isn't it, bro? It's.
Do you feel like, having been through all of that, like, would you change anything?
No, definitely not, man. I feel like I rapidly grew up because all of this happened in like a short space of time. Like, a lot happened in a short space of time. I feel like after that, I just changed into a completely different person. Whether for good or worse, you know what I mean. But that change did happen.
I think it's been for the good. I mean, from what I see that you're extremely dedicated. You've got an amazing work ethic.
Yeah.
And it's that thing you were saying before about motivation was discipline. And I think anyone can see that you're extremely well disciplined. And like you were saying, you've managed to get to a stage where you're really well balanced as well. So,
bro,
I don't think anyone can take that away from you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think once you drill that into your head, I don't think you can ever fully go back. Like, once you've, like, I wouldn't say master discipline, but like once you've, like, learned how to be disciplined in something.
Yeah.
I don't think you can ever, like, fully go back unless you go through some crazy traumatic experience again where you're going back to step one.
Yeah. No, it's like when I was here, like, the last time around, we were talking about, like, working out in gym, and before I started going gym, I was so fucking lazy. I would not like to move, like like, obviously, and you're like, when you come down to Stoke and stuff, you do the shotgun knot thing, and it's like you got to a point where we were doing that for everything. Like, if someone was at the door, you'd be like, shotgun knot, and the one who called it last would actually have to go up and open the fucking door. Like, it's got to that stage, isn't it? And after I started moving and exercising, and I remember you saying these exact words to me, like, once you start moving, then you just can't go back.
Yeah,
it's genuinely that. Like, even now, I try and do something. You know what I mean?
That's the thing. Like what people need to realize, you don't have to be doing the craziest shit. You don't have to be going gym and lifting, like, mad weights, or like doing a marathon. Like, just start. Like, just go. Maybe do 10 minutes. Like, do 15 minutes. Like, you have to slowly work your way up with whatever you're doing. So why do you think this is any different?
Yeah. I think it's about, obviously, when you start going gym and stuff, I think some people have the wrong motivations behind it.
Yeah.
Because it's something that you should be doing for yourself, and you have to look at it as a long-term thing.
Exactly.
So you might see, like, I don't know, like, someone on Instagram just ripped to shreds and got an amazing fucking body, but you don't see the hard work that they've put into it. You don't see the years of dedication that they've had.
Exactly.
And when you see that, it looks unachievable and something that you can't attain. So you tend to put a really unrealistic expectation on yourself.
Yeah.
And I think when you do that, you set yourself up to fail.
Exactly, from the get-go.
Yeah. Like we were saying yesterday, like, showing up is half the battle, but you have to show up every single day.
Yeah.
Right? And a lot of people can't do that because of the really unrealistic standards they put on themselves.
I do feel like you should like just don't compare yourself with the bodies or whatever like you see on Instagram and what because there's zero. You might genetically, no matter how hard you work, you probably might not be able to match like your idol or whoever's body you're looking at. Like there. I mean, me personally, I just compare me to like the best, maybe the best, for example, the best body I've had. So like right now, I need to get back to the best body I've had. So once I've got there, then I can set new goals. Like I can be like, oh, now I've already got there. Now I need to set a new target. But I'm not comparing it with someone else because that's pointless. Like I might never look like this other person. You know what I mean? Like my body, like everyone's body structure is different.
Yeah.
So like, instead of comparing it. Obviously, when you're starting something new, it's good to have like goals. I mean, you have to have goals. So then you might be like looking at this person and be like, oh shit, like, I could get there. That's fine, but because you've not really got anything to compare with yourself, like you haven't got a previous version of yourself to compare it to.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. But yeah, like try to just focus on your own shit and like just grow. Essentially.
Yeah. It's amazing. Should we wrap up?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for doing this.
It's been a pleasure, bro.
Thanks for having me as well. No, it's been good. I hope we can keep doing this, and slowly but surely keep growing.
Both of our podcasts soon blow up. Hey.
Hopefully. Right, do you want to just say anything before we wrap up? Or
just thanks for listening, guys, and tune in.
Yeah,
tune into the podcast.
Like, share, subscribe, all the 9 yards,
all the good stuff.
All right, thanks for listening, guys.
Cheers, guys.